Good afternoon, and welcome to Tales of a Survivor, a talk show that highlights individuals that have overcome abuse and the step that they've taken to get their life back. The purpose of the show is not only to bring awareness, but also to inspire those that are living abuse in silence. We hope that you can mirror yourself in some of the stories that will be shared and find the strength from within to say no more. Today, it's Awareness Day. With Memorial Day behind us, remembering those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom that today we enjoy, we are dedicating today's show to our warriors. And for that, we have an advocate for soldiers with PTSD and other injuries suffered in combat is Laura Castillo. Hi, Laura.
Hi, just having me.
Thank you for taking your time. Now, Laura, I know you are an advocate for soldier for PTSD. Can you tell me a little more about what you do?
Yes, I provide assistance and support to soldiers and
Okay,
family.
all right. So you work at the Army Wounded Warrior Program.
Yes, we are headquartered in Arlington, Virginia.
I'm sorry, headquarters of what? Yes.
In Arlington, Virginia.
Okay. Tell me about this program. How did you get involved?
Well, my husband was in Iraq,
Okay.
and I had a kid, which is one of me in my location.
I'm having a little issue with this Skype. Maybe move the phone to the right. You say your husband was in Iraq, and
Yes, he was injured there.
that's what inspired you to become an advocate for
Yeah,
soldiers. Did he
yes,
suffer? Hmm.
because of everything that I was going through. I wanted to help other families.
So tell me a little bit of what he was going through as a wife. Talk to me as the wife, no the advocate.
Well, when he came home from Iraq, he was very distant. I ran up and I said, I'm very proud of you. And he said, for what? He felt very guilty that he was still alive and his friends were not.
Wow.
So little by little, he couldn't sleep. He was on a lot of medication. He was withdrawn. Um, I felt like he didn't love me. I felt that he forgot about us, but I didn't know that it was PTSD.
Okay, now PTSD is post traumatic disorder.
Stress disorder.
Okay, and now when he was going through PTSD and you didn't know, was he ever violent?
No, but there are people that are.
Yeah, that's why I asked you because I know that some people can turn violent. But again, I'm talking to you as a wife, not as the advocate, because he
Okay.
wasn't always an
No,
advocate.
he was not violent to me in regard to hitting me or anything like that. But he was violent with his words.
Okay, so it became more like a verbal, and his whole demeanor changed. Was he more like a loner, or can you elaborate a little more?
Yes, he was completely withdrawn. He didn't spend any time with us.
What will he spend
And
his
by
time
us,
on?
I mean our whole family. He was by himself. He would rather be by himself. He didn't like to go out. He didn't like to be around crowded places. And so I was just always by myself.
Was he having nightmares?
Yes, he wouldn't sleep because he didn't want to have nightmares.
His nightmares were, did it had to do with the friends that you mentioned before that didn't make it and he did?
Yes, I think also when his vehicle was blown up by a bomb, I think that that had a lot to do with it too.
Wait a minute. You telling me the vehicle was blown up by a bomb, so everybody except him passed?
One guy passed, him and another guy were injured.
Wow. How long was he in Iraq?
7 months, but he did 1 year in Afghanistan
Okay, so he was
before that.
okay, okay. And did you see any difference between when he did the tour in Afghanistan and when he did the tour in Iraq?
Yes, and I remember when he came home on vacation, he told me that he was gonna die, that it was really bad out there.
And which one? Which tour?
To Iraq,
Really?
yeah.
But in Afghanistan, he didn't suffer the PTSD. Everything was okay.
I think he did, but
Okay.
I didn't know him before Afghanistan.
Oh, okay. You didn't recognize it.
No, because I married him after he came back from Afghanistan.
Okay, I see. So now, so did you go to school to become an advocate? And like, tell me more how you became an advocate, and how did you get into the Army Warrior, Wounded Warrior program?
Well, there was a woman who did my job in Fort Wright, and she told me that I would be great for this. So she got me an interview, and I became hired because I knew so much. I educated myself. I went to a lot of his doctor's appointments. I met all the right people. I read all of the books, and so I gained the information and experience to help other families. And then later, I got a degree in psychology, and so I've been growing from there.
Oh, that's congratulations on that. That your passion and your love for your husband, which I salute to him for what he has done and to be one of the warriors for us. So it drove you to become to have a degree in psychology, and it made you read and to learn more about it. I commend you for that. Now, do you only deal with the army, correct?
Yes,
What kind of work do you do? Can you just elaborate on that?
yes. So, for example, a soldier would get injured in Iraq. He will then be transferred to launch school Germany. There will be an advocate there to help him and his family. If he's terminal, we will prepare the family and get them ready to take their soldier back home. If he has a chance that he's gonna live, the army will transfer him to a military treatment facility, and there's an advocate there. And then from there, if he gets medically retired, and gets sent back home, there's an advocate in every state, to take care of that soldier and family, because the army believes that no soldier gets left behind, and we take care of our own. So when he gets home, we help them with his VA claim, Social Security disability, education benefits for him and his family. If they need housing, help them with housing. If they need support group, we help them find a support room. We basically are there to remind them that the Army never forgot their sacrifice.
Wow, that's really, really wonderful. Like, wow. You help them with housing as well, you said?
Yes, and
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said yes, anything they need.
Wow.
Every case is different. For
Okay.
example, I have a soldier from the Bronx. He had a brain injury, and because his family's house was not adapted, like for a wheelchair, there was an organization that built him a house in Pennsylvania, wheelchair accessible, everything.
Oh my God. That is really wonderful. So you're telling me that because it wasn't handicap accessible, they built him a house and for him and his whole family at no cost?
No cost.
Oh my God. How, I mean, who did this? You guys, or you say another organization?
No, so we are basically like a one-stop shop of resources. So we team up with other veteran agencies and organizations. The organization that built him a home is called Homes for the Troops.
Okay, that was the organization that built the home?
Yes, but we made the connection.
Of course, because everything has to go through you if you guys are the one helping them and just making the contacts. So
Right.
you guys was able to build this in collaboration with this organization.
Yes.
Wow, that's really amazing. And is he okay now?
Yeah, he suffered a big injury. He had a big piece of metal through his skull. He's paralyzed. He has PTSD, brain injury. He will never be the same, but at least he's more comfortable now.
Yeah, those are the things that once we decide to honor our country and to fight for the country, which I really salute them for doing that. Those are the risk that comes, the hazards, as you would call it, with being on the job. And I really, it's sad to hear that he will never be the same and that he suffered from the PTSD. Now, let me ask you something. Do you deal with him personally with his
Yes.
PTSD disorder?
He's never able to communicate.
Can you move a little? I think communication is breaking off. I'm sorry. Could you just move a little? Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you now.
Okay. I don't really deal with him because he doesn't communicate very well. But
Okay.
I do speak to his family.
Okay. Okay, so that's good. So that I salute you for what you're doing. Now let me ask you something. When you became an advocate, when you became were you able to help your husband? Is your husband okay now, or he still suffers from that?
Um, I think that I did my best. I learned a lot. I can say that I understand. Um, but people with PTSD don't trust anyone. So, as a wife, that's very difficult.
Mm, okay, the trust, but the trust was there before he went to war. Why would the trust be gone? And again, it might sound, I just don't
Okay,
know.
no, PTSD is an anxiety disorder. And when somebody experiences trauma, it's very difficult for them to um, to trust because they feel paranoid and threatened naturally. It's basically like if you experience a bad relationship and a song reminds you of that bad relationship and you get angry or whatever emotion, That's what PTSD does to a soldier. And they get flashbacks and nightmares and triggered. It could be anything. It could be you watched the movie. It could be you walked into a club. One day it's okay to be there. The next day when you're feeling anxiety, it's not okay to be there. So for me as a wife, I would understand him just by the look he was giving. So I would say, okay, it's not okay. Today wouldn't be okay to be here, even though yesterday it was. So it's just very draining for a spouse because you never know what to expect. You know, we could just be fine, and then he could just all of a sudden not sleep for days, or all of a sudden he's withdrawn and he doesn't talk to me anymore. But we were fine last week, and we'll probably be fine tomorrow. So it's just very exhausting because you don't know what you're dealing with, and life can never be so peaceful.
Now, as a wife, do you help the wives of other warriors? Do you
Yes,
do like a do you have like a support group of any sort? As I mean, since you've been there and you now educated yourself to help the warriors, do you do any kind of support group or something to help these women
yes,
and family members?
yes. There are numerous programs for families.
Okay.
The VA gives you caregiver support, training, and everything if you need it. Um, for the wives that I work with, I let them know that they're not alone. Because when you're going through those things, especially when they just first come home, you think you're the only one and you don't know how to talk to anyone because the regular people that are not in the military don't understand.
Okay. Now, take me to when he came home. I see in videos again. I don't have any family member that have served. And I've seen the videos when they come home, the happiness and the joy. So, being reunited again with the family. How does he go from there to talking? How does he go from that moment that everything is okay to shredding away and going into like sort of like a cocoon?
I don't know how that happens. All I know is that I was excited to see him, and I think that he was excited to see me too, but he was so hurt because he tried to save his friend, and his friend was dead. And he was a young kid, and he was only 23 years old. And so um, the guy was on top of him in the helicopter, and the guy's blood kept falling on his face. And he kept hearing him gasp, like for air. And I'm sure I mean, I can't handle that.
I couldn't
So,
handle it either myself. To be honest,
yeah, so I mean, so I think
I'm
that,
just having the visual. I'm sorry. I'm just having the visual. And you know how it is to have your friend, a young child, a young kid at 23, on top of you. Oh, I couldn't deal with that.
yeah, I wouldn't be able to deal with that either. So you really don't know what to say and or what to do. So you're just there and you try to say nice things as a wife. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Your country appreciates you, but you're just angry and guilty because the guilt follows you around. Why did I alive and he's not? So I'm sure that is very difficult. And but for me, I was only 22 years old when that happened. I didn't understand anything. I thought he was mad at me. I thought he hated me. I thought he didn't love me anymore. I took everything personal. So that was just heartbreaking for me.
How were you able to go past that? I mean, like you said, you was 22 at the time.
I just started going to doctor's appointments with him, and I started learning. And then um, I
No,
just,
but what I mean, I know what you did because you told me, but what I mean is, as a wife, your
how did I get
intimacy,
over that?
your intimacy, the cuddly and everything. How were you able to deal with that when he was kind of rejecting you? And
There was no intimacy.
there was it?
No. And I remember one time, since I thought that he didn't love me anymore, so I said, let me do something nice for him. So I put on lingerie. I stood in front of him, and he said, "You look silly, go change." And that broke my heart even more. But he had no desire to be intimate. He had no desire. Um, that's part of PTSD too. It's not just him. It's a lot. It's a lot of soldiers. They lose their desire for life and sexually because their mind are is somewhere else.
And when it was, and I'm sorry, I'm going a little personal here, but
It's okay.
when there was intimacy, was it aggressive or was it just like it was before he left?
When there was intimacy, in the beginning, it was withdrawn.
Okay,
It was just intimate. It was just sex.
okay, I see. I know as a woman that must have been very hard for you. I know you probably felt, is it that he don't love me, like you said before? Am I not attractive? And I could really relate in that. Now, what is it that you would like to, anything that you would like to tell right now to any of the viewers that might have experienced or have a family member that is suffer from PTSD?
I think the best thing you can do is try to understand them. There's a video on YouTube called PTSD from my point of view. It's from a veteran who went to film school and made the documentary. That is the only thing we can do. And then we could learn to help them through their triggers because PTSD doesn't go away, it's always there. And though they may have good times, the bad times are always there too.
Really?
Yes.
It will never go away? Not
No.
even with medication and treatment?
No. You just learn to cope.
Yes.
Like the symptoms may not be as bad, because a lot of guys will say, I was really bad when I first came home. Now it's not that bad, but never gonna go away.
It's just like, in other words, it's like, in my case, how would I identify with it? It's just like when you lose someone in your family, at the beginning it's very hard, but as you learn how to cope with it, it becomes easier.
Yes,
Some sort of like that.
but the
Um,
pain is never gone. You just
yes,
learn to live without that person.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so then these people just learn to live with PTSD.
So they will have, the nightmares will not stop. They will
They
just,
might get better. They
yeah,
may
that's
not
what I was gonna
have them
say. They
so
just get
often.
better, but it will never stop.
Right.
Does he
Like
does?
you could go like months without having a nightmare. And then you watch a movie or something reminded you of something and then they're back.
Does he watch those kind of movies that of war movies?
Yes. And he plays those games, like Call of Duty and stuff like that. And I don't know, I guess he just identifies with it. I don't know what the best thing for these guys is to be around other veterans
Okay. That's what
because
you would recommend.
they understand each other.
Okay, so that's what you would recommend, like be around other veterans and maybe families get together and create like a support group type of thing. And
Yes.
I thank you so much, Laura, for coming into the show, for bringing some light. And listen, this show is about awareness, and I learned today. So, so I thank you because although I'm not from United States, and and there's army everywhere. Anyway, I'm not into, like, I don't know much about it. I know I have a friend that suffered from actually a coworker that suffered from that, and I never understood, you know,
Right.
what it was, because when you don't know nothing and you're ignorant to it. So I thank you for coming to the show, for bringing awareness. If anybody needs the help, and where can they get in touch with the Army Wounded Warrior Program?
Um, we have a website,
Okay,
aw2.army.mil.
okay.
And there's also va.gov, and numerous of information. You want to know, Google it. There's a VA hospital in the Bronx on West Kingsbridge. Um, if you're a veteran and you need help, it's there for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I commend you for what you do. I also, it's also like to have you as a friend, like I do. Thank you for your time. Say hi to my baby over there.
Thank you so much for everything.
I love her to pieces. You have a wonderful family. Um, anyway, guys, this is a wrap. Thank you for tuning in. I wanna thank my guest once again, and I wanna salute her husband for serving and in the two wars that he was part of. Salute to my soldiers. See you next time.